dog. Imagine if we had this spot right here, big dog. What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Big D, just right here in the city of Los Angeles. Thought I'd come over here, drop another content, drop some little knowledge and history. You know, first of all, I'd like to start by my channel by saying, you know, I appreciate all the subscribers who subscribe to me, all of you who follow me. You know, I appreciate that. But anyways, I thought I'd start today, bring out some knowledge on here about our Mexican-American Chicano community. As you can see, I'm over here in the good old Chavez Ravine, right here in LA, also known as, you know, Dodger Stadium. Before it was Dodger Stadium, you know what I mean, it was, there was a Chicano community that was here, about 300 families. So I took some notes, and basically I'm just gonna try to give you a little history about it, and then we'll go from there. So check this out. Right here, we're right here, like I said, we're right here on Solomon Drive, right here in the city of LA. All right here used to be, it's one part of you know, the community right here that you know, our Chicano community that was right here. And what's crazy is, like, right off the 110 or the 101 freeway, you can see looking out, you know, people are jumping on, jumping in. But like I said, before it was Dodger Stadium, you know, there was a Chicano community right here, about 300 families basically. So let me drop a little education on that, and we'll go from there. As like I said, I took some notes, and you know, and it's crazy because, like I said, it caught my attention. It's basically the Battle of Chavez Ravine. So excuse me. The Battle of Chavez Ravine refers to controversy surrounding government acquisitions of land largely owned by Mexican Americans in Los Angeles, Chavez Ravine. The efforts to repossess the land, which lasted approximately from 1951 to 1961, eventually resulted in the removal of the entire population of the Chavez Ravine from land on which Dodger Stadium was constructed. You know, that part is pretty crazy because, you know, if you dip into it, even myself, you know, I'm a proud Dodger fan. You know, I love my Dodgers, but to know that there was a community that was really removed or wiped out from here just to build, you know what I mean, a stadium and to bring more revenue and more money, you know what I mean, for the city, for the government, but not for the people. And this is between 1951, 1961. You know, at that time I was not even born. But you know, history doesn't change, man. History is all about the truth, right? You know, the facts even change on it, but not the truth. And the truth is, in this community, thank God, there's some of it that some people that are here. But you know what I mean, if you would look that way to your right, which I'm gonna have my guy looking into, this is all land. And now behind that hill is Dodger Stadium, which there was 300 families that used to live right here. So, you know, what's the controversial about that? You know, well, the controversial part is that, man, what about if it was your family? You know, what about, you know what I mean? People grew up right here as children. They would come up and play in the streets, and they would come up and play in the hills and the mountains right here. You know, they're just trying to enjoy their cute community. You know, it's kind of sad because us Chicanos are labeled as, you know, the poor community. You know, we are the poor community, and now, you know what I mean, it's just like we're trying to fight still adversity, still trying to get educated, still trying to, you know what I mean, see if it's racism or not. And that's the thing that's controversial and that I'm trying to bring light to. So let's continue. Like I said, I took these notes out and I was just tripping out, you know, and this is something in my city, in my back of the woods, you know, in my area. So basically the public housing plan that had been advanced of a political progressive and had resulted in the removal of Mexican American landowners of the Chavez Ravine was abandoned after the passage of public referendum prohibiting the original housing proposal and the election of conservative Los Angeles mayor opposed to public housing. By 1958, the public housing plans were abandoned and the land was conveyed by the city to the Brooklyn Dodgers. Okay, so two ethnics then to move to Los Angeles. The new plans were advanced to construct Dodger Stadium on the site. And in 1959, the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department carefully removed the last residents occupying the Chavez Ravine. Wow, that is crazy, you know? They had law enforcement come over here and deliberately remove the last residents that on the little area or big area, you know, and told the families they had to leave. From my understanding, you know, I took some more notes, like I said, but, you know, I remember some of these notes. From my understanding, some of these families were promised like housing. Some of these families were promised, you know what I mean, that they would get first bid on the housing that they're gonna build, you know, and then from then they got sold out to the Dodgers, and from my understanding, nobody got nothing. So basically, you know what I mean, they were out on the cold, told like 4 or 5 months, maybe a couple years to, you know, that they had to get out, and that was it. And, you know, I think that's pretty sad for us Chicanos, you know, at that time. So we talk about, you know, history, we talk about, you know, where do we come from, and at this time, you know what I mean, it was taking place in the 50s and the 60s. So, you know, you want to talk about, you know, it says referendum, you know, they're you know, you know, how the oppression and you know what I mean, how they treat us, you know, back then we were being treated the same way. So, you know, to me, the only way we organize and we publicize is that we unite and stand together. And if you notice that my channel, I keep it real on that, is just like, you know, trying to educate. I know I get a lot of flack where people say, hey, well, you know, you're not, you know, education ain't everything. Well, you know what? That's the difference between you and me. That's the difference between people who are knowledgeable and not knowledgeable. You know, you learn about things, you take that time to learn. You know, I'm reflecting on back, you know what I mean, what's the importance, where I grew up at. You know, I didn't live too far from here. If you go a little bit towards this way, a little bit towards the east, that's Boyle Heights over there. You know, I grew up, what, 10, 15 minutes away from here. I used to come to this park. And you know what I mean? Right here is another park that I hang out at, you know what I mean? When I was little, it was Elysian Park, right? Half of the park, you know, is over here. Right behind that there is CHAVEZ Ravine. You know, so basically, let's continue. But I'll get back to you right now. How do they say YouTube? Lights, camera, action. So check this out. As another thing that I wrote down, going back, you know, to the history of the community. In the first half of the 21st century, CHAVEZ Ravine was a largely independent, semi-rural Mexican-American community in the suburbs of Los Angeles. The area was split into 3 smaller neighborhoods: La Loma, Palo Verde, and Bishop. By the 1951, before the public housing proposal, CHAVEZ Ravine was home to over 1,800 families. The residents of CHAVEZ Ravine were generally poor and relied on farming for income. Many of the families living in the CHAVEZ Ravine by the 1950s moved there because of the ethnic housing discrimination with the city of Los Angeles due to the reputation as a poor, suffering from urban blight were targeted by progressive legislations like the National Housing Act 1949. Even though these areas were oftentimes the residents were doing well, with a good number of residents owning their own homes. See, so even though, you know, as I was taking those notes, the people were sent over here as supposed to be like a poor community. But if you know, the Chicano community started working and being progressive, as it said, and they started buying and purchasing their own land. So I ain't saying there was a threat. I ain't saying there was gentrification. You know, gentrification was coming already in the 1940s and 1950s, 60s. Discrimination and separation and division had been here for centuries, years, since the beginning of time. Cain and Abel, right? You know, the 2 brothers, you know, and this was not even in East LA I'm talking about. I'm going further back. It was over there in spirituality world back in the days. And you know, people separating them because crap happens. So, you know, they seen the minorities, they seen the Mexican American community coming together, buying their houses, you know, and starting to be established, you know, because it does say that they were looking for work. If you notice, our Chicano culture, or Mexican American, you know, we're labeled as farmteros, farmers, right? Nothing wrong with that, because, you know, I mean, who picks the fruit? We do, right? But then we still get punished. You know what I mean? Referendum tries to come, the city of Los Angeles takes away to a higher bid. Why? You know, because it's all about money, you know, and that's pretty sad because over 1,800 family members, like I said, some are still here. If you look back this way, some are not here no more, you know. Imagine what happened to all those families that were growing up here, man, you know. There's some good videos on YouTube and people that actually lived in this area, and they will tell you their stories, how they grew up, and how time was back then, and how was it going to the community schools, and how the dress codes were, and what they ate. And it's very interesting, you know. I thought it was pretty awesome, you know, as I went back and I researched it myself. So I told myself, if my channel is all about educating, you know what I mean, our raza, educating our Latino community, educating the brown, well, before I'm true blue, LA Dodgers sold out, you best believe first that I'm brown first, and that's keeping it real. But like I said, man, you know, it's pretty heartbroken to know that, you know what I mean, you know, communities and gentrification it's been going on for years, man, you know. And they try to label us as a poor community. I mean, I could even imagine what they're saying now, you know. And now, almost 40, 50, 60, 70, 100 years later, the same thing's still happening, man, you know. They want to, if they want you out of their community, and if it's legalized, or they make it random area, or you know, some political way, they're gonna get what they want. And I hate to say it, just like these people, you ain't got nothing coming to you. So let's go back into it. I'm gonna hit some more content, and you know, I'll get a little bit more notes. Let me put my notes out. Stay live, keep it real, keep it real. All right, gente, so I'm gonna give you actually the location where CHAVEZ Ravine is at. So CHAVEZ Ravine is a shallow L-shaped canyon in Los Angeles, California. It sits in a large promontory of hills north of downtown Los Angeles. If you guys look around, look this way, there's nothing but hills around here, right? Next to Major League Baseball Dodger Stadium. If you guys know the Dodgers, you're from LA, you guys know where you come up this way, you're going up the hills. You guys know the Lomas over here, right? CHAVEZ Ravine was named for Julian Chavez, a Los Angeles councilman in the 19th century who was originally purchased the land in the Elysian Park area. Now that's crazy because Julian Chavez in the 1800s, you know what I mean, he possessed most of this land. And first, who are they gonna take it away from? A Chicano councilman. Can you believe that? They couldn't take it from a white guy. They couldn't take it from, you know, a black man, a Chinese man. You know who they came after? A Mexican councilman, man. That's crazy, man. But that just goes to show you, man, you know, that, you know, us brown people, you know, I'm proud to be brown because we've been fighting the opposition for a baseball team, to put a stadium, to put condominiums, to put this. And why they attack us and take us away? Because we're the minority. You know what I mean? If it ain't Canada North, it's brown and Mexicans down south, right? And that's keeping it real. Right here, this is off Solomon Road or Solomon Drive. You know, you got that bridge. When you go under, for us Dodger fans, many know you're Dodger fans, you start going west, you start hitting, you know what I mean? You take that little route, we'll go that way right now, and then up those hills right here, that's all Dodger Stadium. But you can see there's still community right here. There's still people that, you know, they were looking for people that live up the mountain. You know, these people they had mercy on them, and you know, they didn't have to move out, you know. These people over here, another hand, you know, they had to move out. So that goes to show you, like, man, you know, how people just had to leave. Over 1,800 people, man, you know, 300 families. That's a lot of people. Maybe in the real world, between how many billions of people, that's just ain't nothing. But you know what I mean? It's not about how many people was here. It's about what happened to the community right here. And the community was literally half of the community, or most of the community was pretty much gotta go. right, people, now we're driving, giving you a little tour. You know, like this is going to Dodger Stadium, right? There's the other part of Chavez Ravine right here. These are the people that were spared. I guess these people didn't have to move. They went after the community up the hill. So, you know, why was that? To get a better, you know, a better outlook. You know, if you've been to Dodger Stadium before, it has a beautiful view of Dodger Stadium. But check it out, man. This is all Chavez Ravine. You know, he owned most of this land right here, and they took it away from him, literally. And that's pretty crazy. You guys been up here, man. The police academy's up here. You know, it's been up here for a long time. Like I said, it's pretty crazy. So back in the days, as it mentioned, you know, it was a Chicano community right here, real strong. It was our base form right here. You know, this is the academy right here. Actually, this is probably for COVID testing, I think. We'll see. See going on, you know. So many later, we're facing a pandemic, right? Happening right here, right now, people. But this is it, man. You know, it's pretty crazy, man. It's been up here, like I said, there's the academy to the right. You know, if you want to join the police force, you're more than welcome. There's a good old Elysian Park right here. There's an event going on right here, so Elysian Park. But this is it right here, people. This is all Chavez Ravine, man. You know what I mean? Imagine all the communities and everything that was up here, man. I still like coming up here, you know what I mean? I used to come up here when I was a kid, and I still bring my daughter over here to tell you the truth, so, you know. Check it out, people. There's an event going on, you know what I mean? If I'm gonna drop a content, they knew Big D was coming, so we're keeping it real. So they, you know, these people are just saying, hey, man, you know. But look on the left side. If you look to the left side, that's where that's where Dodger Stadium's at. So there was a community right here that actually, you know, over 1,800 people, 300 families, you know, were just literally taken away. So, you know, that's pretty sad, you know, for these people who grew up right here, you know what I mean, and they just say you lived here for like 5, 6, 10 years, and you're between 7 and 17, then you get forced out. Like, that's pretty sad, man, you know. But this is all Elysian Park, you know. This is the community right here. It was part of it, but like I said, the Lower Angels Point, man, it's crazy. Right there, check that out. That Dodger Stadium. Yeah, people, I'm telling you right now, look it, man. It's all Dodger Stadium. This is where that community was at, you know, Chavez Ravine right here. You know, can you imagine? It's just crazy. You know, I have a lot of memories right here, man, growing up, man. I remember, it's, you know, they used to have Circus Vargas. For those people who know who Circus Vargas is, you know, they used to come up here, man, you know. And my grandfather would bring me over here, and you know, and take me to all the events and everything that was taking place, and you know, he was being a father figure. Can I go in here? No, I can't. Can I? Well, this right down. No, they can check it out, man. Out, gente, is where the spot's at, man. If you haven't been to Elysian Park, man, check it out, man. Bring your family, your kids on the weekends. You can do barbecue, shrimp tacos, whatever you do, man. This is it right here, man. It's my backyard right here. You know, people used to tailgate right here, man, before they kicked it out, because too many people get drunk and can't handle their liquor, and they, you know what I mean, they expelled it. You know, they didn't allow it anymore. You know, you can't tailgate, so. You know, I know there are a lot of people come out, a lot of lowrider cars, events, they come out, meet right here. But, you know, before all this was happening, there was a community right here, you know. Thank God there still is a community right here, you know. So we still got to represent, right, one way or another. You know, I'm proud to be brown skinned, you know. Doesn't change the fact. go up here, take you on another route, take you on the other side of Dodger Stadium. Just give me a little driveway. Just give me a little driveway direction, you know. All this just to build this right here. All this, people. All this taking away from the families. People have to relocate. Everything. All this to build this. You know? And that's crazy because I never looked at it like that. I never looked at, you know what I mean, communities and families where people will be affected. And sure enough, man, look at this is proof right here, people. You know? Over 1,800 people. That's a lot of people, man. You know what I mean? Had to be, you know what I mean, turned away or had to move within some time period so this could be built. Crazy. What's going on, gente? It's your boy Big D. Now we're on the other side of the, you know what I mean, of Dodger Stadium. You know, like I said, here's proof right here. You know, you can't miss the mark. Like I said, over 1,800 people, 300 families. You know what I mean? We're right here, and you know, they had to be, you know, relocated. That's gentrification there, you know what I mean? So it's been happening to us for a long time. You know, over what expense? Well, it's right here for the Dodgers. It was basically for the Dodgers. They tried to say it was for this, and they tried to say for that, but guess what? It was for the Dodger Stadium. Now let's get into a little bit more. You know, let me see. I gave you the beginning, somewhat of the middle. And let's see, let's continue in the middle and let's see headed towards the end, right? Let's check it out. So Chavez Ravine was named for Julian Chavez, right? The first recorded landowner in the ravine, right here, right here. He was born in New Mexico and moved to Los Angeles in the early 1830s. Wow, that's crazy. He quickly became a local leader. In 1844, Chavez purchased 83 acres, wow, of the long, narrow valley northwest of the city. 83 acres, man. Can you believe this, people? There's 83 acres. You know, 83 acres that he owned, right? Chicano, Mexican American. You know, for a long narrow. There are no records of what Chavez did on his land, but during the 1850s to the 1880s, there were smallpox epidemics. Well, guess what, people? Now it's COVID. You know, so in Chavez Canyon was the location of the pest house, which cared for Chinese Americans and Mexican Americans suffering from these diseases. Now that's crazy, man. In addition to the notable Mexican American presence, there was also a notable early Jewish American presence here in the neighborhood. See, there's a Jewish community here. I'm pretty sure there's Irish. You know, there's just, it goes on and on. You know. In the beginning, in the 1850s, the first Jewish site in Los Angeles was a Jewish cemetery located in the Chavez Ravine. Wow. So the first Jewish cemetery was located right here. Now that's crazy. You know, God bless the Jewish, right? Let me see what else. You know, what else did I take notes on? Was which were opened in 1855 and was owned by the Hebrew Benevolent Society of Los Angeles, a Jewish charity, which also is the first charity in Los Angeles. The Hebrew Benevolent Society purchased a 3-acre plot of barren land for the cemetery for $1 million from the city. The Hebrew Benevolent Society of Los Angeles was founded in 1854 for the purpose of pockering a piece of ground suitable for the purpose of buying around the deceased of their own faith, and also the appropriate and portion of their time and means in the holy cause of benevolence. It's a weird word. Let me see. Let me see what else is going. Hold on, people. What else are they saying? And it is the 1900s now. In 1902, because of poor environmental conditions due to the unchecked expansion of the industry in Chavez Ravine area, it was proposed by Congregation Burr to secure a new plot of land in what is now East LA. Wow. And to move and bury remains to the new site, which the continued provision of burial indigenous people that became the home of Peace Cemetery in East Los Angeles. And then in the early 1900s, in the hills above around the ravine, a semi-rural Mexican American community had grown up. Eventually, 3 districts, Bishop, mostly on the ridges between the neighborhood ravine. In 1913, a progressive lawyer named Marshall Stimson subsidized and moved from around 250 Mexican Americans to these communities. Wow. Well, you see 250 families. That's crazy. Another part, there was also a local grocery store, a local church, and Palo Verde Elementary. So if you know, Palo Verde is on the other side. I forgot to get that filmed up. We just passed it actually, but I didn't know it was linked to this. That's pretty crazy. There was a nearby brick factory which caused problems from the smoke and dust release. In 1926, the residents of CHAVEZ Ravine organized to shut the company down. In August 20, 1926, the Los Angeles City Council unanimously adopted the ordinance prohibiting the blast of the zone in the area and CHAVEZ Ravine for residential use. All right, now we're moving it up a little further. 1940s, CHAVEZ Ravine was made up of three mostly Mexican-American communities: La Loma, Palo Verde, and Bishop. In 1940s, there was a poor, cohesive Mexican-American community. Many families lived in there because of their housing discrimination to another parts of Los Angeles. With the population of Los Angeles expanding, CHAVEZ Ravine was viewed as a prime man. The city began to label the area as blighted and thus ripe for redevelopment. Oh wow, that's crazy. See, now we're getting to how the Chicano community came over here. All right, so they build housing. They build housing projects. They made it for the poor community, and which the assistance of federal funds from the Housing Act of 1940 was designated to the task to construct public housing to large part of addresses that's severe post-World War II housing shortage. Wow. See, I'm telling you, people, you know, it's crazy how we don't emphasize, or we don't, consist of educating. You know, it's not to better yourself, but just to know what's going on and to better yourself at the same time. You know, it's just crazy. So let me see. Let's see what else, you know what I mean? Let me see what else is. Let me see what else did I write down. Now we know what happened. You know what I mean? We knew that the Chicano community in the 40s and the 50s, you know, they were up here for a while. We know Mr. Chavez, you know what I mean, built the community for us, you know, because, you know, Chicano, the Mexican Americans were getting, you know what I mean, harassed in other cities. So he brought this part of land and brought them over here, the community. And this is the part where it gets interesting. So now we're at the part where, you know, it's Dodger Stadium's right here. Here it is, right? This is the conclusion, people. This is Big D keeping it real, man. You know, so, you know, we know that you know what I mean, the city sold, you know what I mean, instead of it being for the Chicano community, the Mexican community, Mexican American community, it was actually sold to Walter O'Malley, which was the owner of the Brooklyn Dodgers at that time. So what they did, what they were supposed to put in housing projects over here, reconstruct, you know what I mean, houses, so, you know, so the community could come back and live there. And through all that, everything went up and down. They sold it to Mr. O'Malley, who now, back then, now it became your Los Angeles Dodgers, those Dodgers, right? This is where it ends up at, people. This is the conclusion. You know what I mean? A little pivot, you know what I mean, of what I'm bringing out. And after so many years, since the 60s and 70s, this is how it ended up, man. Dodger Stadium's here, it's live, it's not going anywhere. And, you know, it's a little bit of mixed emotions, to tell you the truth, because, like I said, what about if it was one of my family or one of your family members that you sought out and you knew that, oh, well, in 1930s, 40s, or 50s, our family got kicked out because Mr. O'Malley and the city of Los Angeles they decided instead of putting housing projects and making our community better, they came over here and put a stadium. Why? We know why it is. Revenue, people. It's revenue. It's all about the money, right? It's all about that dollar. So, you know what I mean? Through all that, they knew people were going to forget about it. They knew 1,800 people, 300 community families. They're not going to trip. After years go on, generations, decades, man. I mean, I'm like that, you know? I didn't know too much of CHAVEZ Ravine. I knew a little bit who he was. But look, in the end, I'm sold out too, you know? Hey, but I'm a Dodger fan. But this is why it's very important that I bring content like this up, because to me, I could see the whole movie. I could see the tribute. I could see, you know what I mean, the whole, you know, the personal feelings. I could see the emotions and everything that came with this. Yes, it's beautiful to have Dodger Stadium. Yes, you know what I mean, I love my Dodgers. yes, I represent, you know what I mean, the team to the fullest, but you know what I mean, I also represent the families that used to live right here too. You know what I mean? This is why I'm coming out, you know what I mean? For the 2-3 people that view this video, or the thousands, you know what I mean, that check it out, you know, make sure you know about your community, where you grew up, about your city, you know what I mean? And those kind of facts, you know, because, you know, sometimes facts do change, you know what I mean? But one thing doesn't change is the truth. And the truth is that there was a community right here of Mexican Americans, or Latino or Chicano culture, and now, you know, 1,800 people gone. Right here on Stadium Way, baby. Stadium Way.
We need cooperation. It's our obligation to improve this nation. We got the power, Latinos, we're taking over.
My real ones at? Where my real ones at? Who's keeping it real? Keep it real all day, every day. You know? Here's my conclusion, people, you know? Check it out, raza. This is not just for the raza, it's for the blacks, whites, Asians, Chinese, you know, it's just my little interest in a little bit of history of, you know, I mean, of my people, my culture, you know, and you know, back in the late 40s and 50s or 60s, you know what I mean, people had to leave from this beautiful area, you know, and like I said, we're around this park, man, and you know, we're just gonna be ending this video. But hey, man, saludos to the Dodgers, man. You know what I mean? They didn't win this year, but they won last year. You know, we're still champions. But oh man, what do you see right there, straight ahead? Twin Towers. It sure is. You know what I mean? That's how you know you're in LA, man. You know what I mean? So you get locked up, man, by Akon. But yeah, man, there's a little fire department to the left right here. I know a lot of people after the game, they come down right here, they pull over, and you guys party and do your thing. I know I used to, man. But I just want to give a big shout out to all my subscribers and those who follow me, man, or those who are going to come by, swing by, view my channel, you know, give me a like, you know, leave a comment, man, you know, give me your opinion on what you think, or, you know what I mean, what's your opinion, you know. It'll be even awesome, even more, even fulfilling gratification if, you know, if I could come across somebody that actually lived around this time or have family members. You know, you could reach me at my IG, you know, it's Keeping It Real RF, you know, hit me up, you know. You know, it's like I said, man, you know, I would love to come out here and get your point of view, man. You know, maybe you could tell a better story than I can, you know. And for those who are still researching, you know, there's YouTube, there's Google. I just came over here, just thought it was important to me because like us, you know, you can never let nothing, you know, be forgotten. And you know, that's why I'm out here doing my thing. You know, this is very important to me. You know what I mean? Like I said, you know, it's pretty sad that, you know, a lot of people, big community, you know, they had to depart from this situation because gentrification, you know. They had to leave and actually, you know what I mean, take a loss, you know what I mean, just for the Dodgers to be here, you know what I mean. And the Dodgers were not even originally from LA, so what does that tell you? You know, they're from New York, Brooklyn, so it's a little personal, you know. But this is all, you know, we just went around, we drove around the Elysian Park, and we're just showing you, like, hey, this is a community that was once here, and like me, I'm not gonna forget about them, man, you know. So people like us, after 60, 70, 80 years, 20 years, 10 years, 3 days, 3 months, people are always gonna find that interest and come back to the realization that, hey, you know, there's a community right here. And that's basically it, man. I'm just trying to just bring that awareness, man. Like, I've been, if you come to the Dodger games, man, going through these bridges and these freeways and all that stuff, you know, this is a regular routine, man, you know. So we're just right here, like I said, just checking it out, man. We're gonna exit our way out, headed back to, you know what I mean, the sit. And man, like I said, those who like, you know what I mean, see this video, right here is Cathedral. You know, it's another good high school right here. You know, it's one of these Catholics. They're pretty good in their football team. You get lost up in these hills, man, if you don't know how to drive. But since I've been here a while, you know, this is Cathedral High School. You know what I mean? It's one of those nice, you know what I mean, it's college preparation schools. You know what I mean? So I know people that came here as well, and it's right up the alley, man, straight up. But I appreciate everybody, man. Like I said, like and subscribe, you know, leave a comment, even if it's something negative, man, or something that, you know, you want to re-advise, and, you know, check me on some stuff, and call it what it is, man. But I just want to say gracias to everybody. Thanks to my homies right here helping me out. He's being the cameraman today. El Trippy. Trippy 2 Guns from the Big QV.
Yeah, sure.
There's a couple events that are happening right here. There's always stuff happening right here. That's where I grew up at, East Los, you know, all the way to the southeast. Peace.